A very good morning to all of you. You're watching Breakfast News. My name is Aditi Nagpal Girotra. Let's get the news rolling with the headlines first. 548 districts in 30 states and union territories under lockdown to control spread of the coronavirus. Curfew in Punjab, Maharashtra, Puducherry and 2 districts of Madhya Pradesh. Providers of essential goods and services exempted from ban on movement. Domestic passenger flights to be banned from midnight today. Foreign passengers to be stopped at all 107 immigration checkposts. COVID-19 investigations begin at 15,000 collection centres of 12 private laboratories. Social distancing will reduce incidence of coronavirus infection by 60 to 90%, says ICMR. Prime Minister Modi appeals to industry to refrain from cutting down workforce, urges measures to allow employees to work from home. PM emphasizes keeping distance from each other is the biggest weapon in the fight against the novel coronavirus outbreak. Finance Minister assures salaries of contractual employees unable to come on duty will not be cut. Rapid spread of coronavirus infection continues. World Health Organization cautions against the use of untested drugs to treat COVID-19. Deaths due to virus reach 15,873 worldwide. South Africa and Britain under lockdown for 3 weeks with 601 fresh casualties. Death toll in Italy exceeds 6,000. And sworn in as Chief Minister for the 4th time in Madhya Pradesh, Shivraj Singh Chauhan to prove confidence majority in Vidhan Sabha today. Calls checking of spread of coronavirus infection his biggest priority. Prime Minister Modi congratulates Chauhan on becoming CM. Our top focus on Rajya Sabha TV, stepping up the battle against coronavirus. A total of 548 districts across 30 states and union territories in the country have imposed complete lockdown, as number of confirmed cases of COVID-19 infection rise to 492, with 446 active cases across the country. 95 fresh cases of coronavirus infections were recorded on Monday, the biggest jump so far. 2 deaths were also reported, taking the toll in India to 9. Kerala has reported 95 COVID-19 cases, while the number of cases in Maharashtra is 97. Punjab, Puducherry, Chandigarh and Maharashtra have announced curfew in the state. Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh said on Monday that there will be no relaxation barring essential services. Announcing the curfew on Monday, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said the fight against coronavirus has reached a turning point and only medicines and other essential services will be available during this period. Soon after taking oath as Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister, Shivraj Singh Chauhan imposed curfew in Bhopal and Jabalpur, where coronavirus cases have been found.
हमने एक महत्वपूर्ण फैसला किया है। हमारे 2 जिले, 2 शहर जबलपुर और भोपाल, जहां पॉजिटिव केस पाए गए हैं, दोनों जिलों में कर्फ्यू लगेगा। अपने आप को बांध लीजिए ताकि हम इस महामारी को फैलने से रोक सकें।
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has said that those violating the lockdown in Delhi will face strict action, as many as people who ignored lockdown instructions on Monday will be punished. Delhi police has sealed all border pickets and said curfew passes will be issued to people associated with essential services. Section 144 has been imposed in the national capital till 31st of March. Metro, autos, taxis and cab aggregators have already suspended their services due to the lockdown.
मेरी आप सब लोगों से विनती है, हमने पूरी ताकत लगा दी है इसको रोकने के लिए। सरकार की सारी ताकत लगा दी है। केंद्र सरकार, सारी राज्य सरकारें मिलके इसको रोकने के लिए कोशिश कर रही है। आपका साथ चाहिए। अब सब लोग लॉकडाउन का पूरा पालन करेंगे। अगर लॉकडाउन का पालन नहीं हुआ तो सरकार को सख्ती करनी पड़ेगी आपके साथ, और हम सख्ती करेंगे।
Tamil Nadu, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Manipur, Assam, Uttarakhand, Gujarat, Telangana and Jharkhand are among the states that have already imposed complete lockdown till 31st of March. They have also imposed Section 144. The Meghalaya government on Monday shut down 17 government departments till 31st March and imposed curfew in 2 districts. Along with lockdown, the Haryana government also announced a Haryana Corona Relief Fund while seeking voluntary donations for HCRF. Khattar also made a donation of Rs 5 lakh from his personal account. All MLAs have also decided to contribute their 1 month's salary to the relief fund. Khattar has also announced special financial assistance for people in below poverty line category and low income groups like daily wagers, labourers, street vendors and construction workers. Meanwhile, all domestic commercial passenger flight operations will be suspended from midnight tonight till 31st March to restrict travel. India has already banned international flights for a week from Sunday. In addition, all immigration checkpoints have been closed and no one will be allowed to travel within the Indian territory via air, sea, land and river route. Prime Minister Narendra Modi had urged the people to follow instructions and stay at home to contain the spread of coronavirus. The centre had also directed the states to enforce the lockdown. And let's connect with our special news correspondent, Anu Diwan. Anu, what's the latest information, what's the latest update on the current spread of coronavirus?
Aditi, seeing the rising number of cases of coronavirus that has now risen to 492 in India, government has already imposed lockdown in many of the states. And yesterday we have seen that people were not following the rules, due to which Prime Minister Narendra Modi intervened and also urged states to see that people follow the lockdown so that we can prevent ourselves from the spread of coronavirus. This lockdown is basically for the people, for the betterment of the people, so that they can protect themselves from the spread of coronavirus. And seeing to this, all the roads, metros and other transport facilities have been stopped for a while till 31st of March. And if we also see that AIIMS has also stopped the OPD section for till 31st of March, because in AIIMS in Delhi we see lots of people from other states used to visit AIIMS for their treatment and surgeries. Doctors were earlier also urging people not to come to any of the doctor if it's not too necessary, but seeing the condition that people are coming in numbers, and so the AIIMS yesterday has brought out a notice and asked people that that the OPD has been shut down for some time. And also the international and the domestic flights, international flights were already taken off on Sunday, but today midnight all the domestic flights, only the carriage flights will be taking off. This is just for the betterment of the people, so that people follow the lockdown, and the government and the central and the state governments are trying their best so that they can prevent the spread of coronavirus, and we can stop ourselves from the entering the stage 3, which is the community transmission stage, and we can prevent ourselves from entering this stage, which is the most worst stage, if we can say. Over to you, Aditi.
Thank you, Anu, for providing us all that information. And in its efforts to contain the spread of the deadly coronavirus, the government is trying to boost healthcare facilities across the country. The government has asked the states to prepare special hospitals to deal with the situation arising out of the pandemic.
हमने स्टेट्स को ये भी रिक्वेस्ट की कि डेडिकेटेड हॉस्पिटल्स, पूरा का पूरा हॉस्पिटल जो कोविड-19 केसेस के मैनेजमेंट के लिए हर तरह से यथासंभव तैयारी के साथ रहे, वो उन हॉस्पिटल्स को भी रेडी किया जाए, ये हम भी सब स्टेट्स को बोल चुके हैं.
Indian Council of Medical Research Director General Dr. Balram Bhargav said that 12 private laboratories chains have 15,000 collection centers that have started testing for COVID-19. He said 2 kit manufacturers have been approved so far. On the use of drug hydroxychloroquine as prophylaxis for COVID infection, he said. It can be given to asymptomatic healthcare workers involved in the care of suspected and confirmed cases of COVID-19. Meanwhile, the All India Institute of Medical Sciences in Delhi has decided to indefinitely shut down OPD services from today for the first time ever.
12 लेबोरेटरी चेन्स रजिस्टर हो गई हैं और उन्होंने काम शुरू कर दिया है। इन 12 के ही करीबन 15,000 कलेक्शन सेंटर पूरे देश में हैं और ये काम जारी है और हर मिनट ये बढ़ रही हैं लैब्स। किट मैन्युफैक्चरर्स की टेस्टिंग के लिए फास्ट ट्रैक कर दिया गया है ICMR NIV पुणे में और 2 किट मैन्युफैक्चरर ऑलरेडी अप्रूव हो चुके हैं और ये भी स्पष्ट किया जाना चाहते हैं इस समय कि ये FDA CE अप्रूवल मैंडेटरी नहीं है। ICMR NIV प्रमाणित भी जो टेस्ट किए जाएंगे वहाँ पे फास्ट ट्रैक बेसिस पे वो भी स्वीकृत हैं और इनका प्रयोग किया जा सकता है कोविड टेस्टिंग के लिए।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi asked India Inc. to ensure that production of essential items is not impacted in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak and there is no hoarding and black marketing. He urged the leaders of India Inc. to allow employees to work from home and not to cut down on workforce despite the negative impact of COVID-19 on businesses. He interacted with industry representatives from SOCHM, FICCI, CII and several local chambers from 18 cities across the country through video conferencing. CII said its member companies will help scale up manufacture and availability of essential goods and equipment needed to deal with the medical emergency. Prime Minister Modi also interacted with journalists and media heads regarding the novel coronavirus pandemic via video conferencing. The PM said that media should counter pessimism and panic through positive communication. He appreciated the role played by the channels in spreading awareness and asked them to spread scientific reports, involve informed people in their discussions, and counter the spread of misinformation. In view of the coronavirus outbreak, states and union territories have been allowed to lift food grains for 3 months on credit from the Food Corporation of India. This decision was taken to ensure adequate supply of food grains to the public and financially assist the state governments. Around 75 crore beneficiaries come under the public distribution system. Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman made this announcement on Twitter that her ministry will ensure that the states do not face any cash constraint in distributing food to those in need. Protesters against the citizenship law at Shaheen Bagh were vacated by the Delhi police in the morning today. The women agitators have been on a sit-in at Shaheen Bagh for over 3 months, protesting the newly amended Citizenship Act. The police said the protesters were requested to vacate the site as lockdown has been imposed due to coronavirus outbreak. However, when they refused, they were vacated forcefully. The number of COVID-19 cases worldwide has crossed 350,000 with over 15,000 deaths. The World Health Organization has warned that the coronavirus pandemic is accelerating with more than 3.5 lakh cases now confirmed. It took 67 days from first reported case of COVID-19 to reach 1 lakh cases, 11 days for the second 1 lakh and just 4 days for the third lakh. But WHO Director General said it was still possible to change the trajectory. Meanwhile, UN Chief Antonio Guterres has called for a global ceasefire to enable the focus to shift on the true fight of our lives as he referred to the coronavirus. He said the ceasefire would allow humanitarians to reach populations that are most vulnerable to the spread of COVID-19.
Our world faces a common enemy, COVID-19. The virus does not care about nationality or ethnicity, faction or face. It attacks all relentlessly. Meanwhile, armed conflict rages on around the world. The most vulnerable, women and children, people with disabilities, the marginalized and displaced, pay the highest price. They are also at the highest risk of suffering devastating losses from COVID-19.
Italy reported 602 deaths on Monday, bringing the total death toll to 6,078 in the country. This was a decline for a second day as the country enters its third week of lockdown measures designed to keep the spread of the disease in check. Saturday's record toll was followed by a late-night address to the nation in which PM Giuseppe Conte announced the additional closure of non-essential factories. Meanwhile, the first cases of community transmission of the novel coronavirus have been recorded in Argentina. There have been 262 COVID-19 cases in the country. Argentina had announced obligatory quarantine to curb the spread of coronavirus, but now mandatory measures are to be announced. Germany has expanded curbs on social interactions to try to contain the coronavirus outbreak, banning public gatherings of more than 2 people. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Monday ordered Britons to stay at home to try to halt the spread of coronavirus, closing non-essential shops and warning that those who do not follow the rules face fines.
Too many people become seriously unwell at one time, the NHS will be unable to handle it, meaning more people are likely to die, not just from coronavirus, but from other illnesses as well. So it's vital to slow the spread of the disease, because that is the way we reduce the number of people needing hospital treatment at any one time, so we can protect the NHS's ability to cope and save more lives.
Meanwhile, coronavirus continues to spread in the US, which currently has over 43,000 confirmed cases and have reported 533 deaths. More than 100 coronavirus-related deaths were reported in a single day for the first time since the outbreak. As a result, on Monday, Washington, Ohio, Louisiana, Oregon, Michigan, Indiana, and Massachusetts became the latest to issue stay-at-home orders for residents. Wisconsin, Delaware, and New Mexico will follow suit on Tuesday, taking the total number of states withdrawing behind closed doors to well over a dozen. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump, under fire for labeling COVID-19 the Chinese virus, has said Asian Americans should not be blamed for the outbreak. For the first time in 6 days, China has reported a new case of coronavirus in Hubei province. The new case was among 78 reported across the country on Monday, of which 74 were imported from overseas. That brings mainland China's total to 81,171 confirmed cases. China also reported 7 new deaths, bringing the national death toll to 3,277. In recent weeks, the number of locally transmitted cases has fallen in China as the number of imported cases has risen. In an important decision, the 2020 Olympic Games will be postponed by 1 year because of coronavirus. The announcement was made by International Olympic Committee member Dick Pound. It comes after UK, Australia and Canada said they will not compete in Japan. Financial markets in Europe, US and Asia continue to fall despite fresh action by the Federal Reserve to support the American economy. The US Central Bank said it would buy as much government debt as needed to soothe markets while providing new financing for households and firms. Investors are worried about economic damage due to the coronavirus. Parliament was adjourned sine die on Monday as both houses curtailed their sittings in the wake of the coronavirus outbreak. The budget session was scheduled to end on 3rd April. Lok Sabha passed the Finance Bill 2020 without any discussion. More than 40 amendments were introduced to the financial bill, which were moved for consideration and passing by Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman. Some amendments moved by the opposition were negated. The bill gives effect to the financial proposals of the central government for fiscal 2020-21. A decision to pass the bill without any discussion was taken at an all-party meeting convened by Lok Sabha Speaker Om Birla. The Rajya Sabha too was adjourned sine die on Monday, ahead of scheduled amidst coronavirus concerns. The upper house clocked 76% productivity during the budget session and passed 12 bills. 249 public interest issues were raised in the upper house during this period.
Appreciate the reasons for which this budget session of Parliament is being adjourned sine die ahead of the schedule, which is up to the 3rd of next month. As against the total 31 sittings scheduled between 31st to April 3rd, we are constrained to conclude after 23 sittings. The budget session is primarily meant for charting the right course of action for economic growth and development for the financial year 2020-21 to the budget proposals made by the government and approved by the Parliament. Ironically, the global outbreak of coronavirus, which its origins in China, is set to play havoc with the global economic outlook, with our country being no exception. The challenge before the world is to minimize the damage caused by the corona outbreak, both to the health and wealth of the people across the globe. Our country is a spirited partner in the collective global efforts to contain the spread of this deadly virus. I fondly hope that collectively this battle would be won. For the information of the honourable members and for record, this August House functioned for a total of 90 hours and 30 minutes against the total scheduled time of 118 hours and 52 minutes during these 23 sittings. This in effect means that the productivity of the House, including both the parts of this budget session, has been 76.13% only. While the productivity of the first part of this session between 31st January and February 11 has been 97%. The productivity of the second part has begun on March 2nd, comes to above 64%. The House clocked a high productivity of 106% during the third week of the second part of this session, as against a low of 9.50 during the first week. A total functional time of 38 hours, 23 minutes of the House has been lost on account of disruptions during this session. This includes 32 hours, 51 minutes, so lost during the second part of this session. As against this loss, the House sat beyond the scheduled time on 9 days for a total of 9 hours, 59 minutes. Honourable members, passionate and quality debates on the motion of thanks to President's address and the general budget and over 4 hours short duration discussion on the violence in Delhi have been the highlights of this session.
BJP leader Shivraj Singh Chauhan took oath as Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister for the fourth time late on Monday. Earlier in the day, he was elected State BJP Legislative Party leader at the meeting of party MLAs in Bhopal. Former Congress leader Jyotiraditya Scindia, who joined BJP earlier this month, took to Twitter to congratulate Chauhan. And with this, it's a wrap on this edition of Breakfast News. Thank you so much for watching.